Alright, today I'm going to show you how to do an oil change on the 2017 Jeep JK. Straightforward process. You just need some simple tools. It basically does the vast majority of work itself. You're going to remove basically 2 nuts. That's it. Drain it, fill it up. Straightforward. I'll just go over what you need to get this done. Basically, these are the tools you're going to need. You're going to need a 24 mil to take off the oil to get to the filter canister, because it's not just a can like a lot of vehicles. You're going to need 13 mil and obviously a ratchet to drive those. You're going to need the screwdriver to get the O-ring off. You're going to need basically a funnel to get the fluids in there without making a big mess. You're going to need a brand new oil filter. In my case, because I'm using synthetic, this is a synthetic filter, and in my case I'm using Royal Purple 5W20. You're going to need 6 quarts of oil, because that's what it's going to take to replace the oil inside your Jeep. Alright, some other things that you're going to want to do before you get started. I always recommend grab a cardboard box. Obviously you're going to need a pan to catch the oil that's coming out, and you're going to want to recycle that. So make sure you've got a container that's obviously big enough to take all the fluids that are coming out to save a mess. The other part is make sure the vehicle's in park. In my case, it's also in gear. As an added precaution, we've put chocks under the rear wheels just so it doesn't roll back. All right, so first things first, we've got to remove this shroud here, and that's just going to pop off. Very straightforward. And as you can see, our oil filter is right there. All right, first things first, we're just gonna pop the cap. Just gonna let some air in while it drains. We're gonna come back up and take this guy off, but I'm just gonna let the oil run first. You do have to pop this out while it is draining, so you have to have it drained. Can't think you let the oil out then come do this, because basically the oil in the sump will not get out. So it's important to make sure that you get that guy off. So we got the cardboard in place, the drop pan in place. Just gonna loosen this guy up. And remember that this is gonna shoot a bit. So I'm keeping pressure forward as I'm pushing. You see a bit of drip, and then pull. And we're just going to let that drain out. It should drain out fairly fast. So coming up here, we're going to basically take this guy off. So we're going to utilize the 24. We're just going to loosen that a bit. And it should be ready to come off. Now when we do this, just going to utilize some shop towels and kind of get them in there. Because when I pull it up, it's going to pull the entire canister out, and I want to catch those extra drippings. So get that nice and loose. And we're going to grab that. So as you can see, oil canister, we're just going to simply grab that, and it pops out. Again, good to wear gloves. We're just going to let that sit and drain for a second. Now you can see there's a little O-ring there. We're going to pop that off when we get the new filter going. It's a nice brand new clean filter. Brand new clean O-ring. So if we can't get this off by hand, which probably can't, I'm just going to utilize the flathead screwdriver to basically pop off that O-ring. So there you go, popped it off. Gonna give this quick wipe. We're going to install the new O-ring. Nice and installed. We're going to lubricate that with some clean oil. So we're just going to take a dab of oil on our finger, and we're just going to run that completely around the O-ring to give it some lubrication. And that's almost ready to install. And we're just going to simply take that and pop you're going to hear a click, and that's it, ready to go. So that's ready to install on the top. All right, we're going to take the filter, we're going to drop it back in there, and then we're going to hand tighten it down. We're going to get to a certain point here, and this guy needs to be torqued to about 18 foot-pounds, or basically 25 nanometers. So we're going to use a torque wrench. And that's properly torqued, as you can hear the click on the torque wrench. So clean the drain plug, clean around the hole. Basically, we're going to hand tighten this on, make sure not to cross thread it, anything like that. We're going to put that back on, and then once we get it fairly snug, we're going to use the torque wrench, and we're going to torque that to about 25 foot-pounds or 27 nanometers to make sure that we're all factory done. Then it's time to throw in the oil. And you can hear the click. So that is torqued. You don't want to over tighten these. You don't want to crack your pan, all that kind of good stuff. So I do highly recommend a torque wrench. Now everything is torqued in. It's just a matter of adding your oil. So just throw the engine shroud back on, it just slots in there. Just make sure you're lined up. It just pops back on, nice and tight. And there you go, you can close things up. You set oil cap on. You're gonna run it for a bit, you're gonna check the oil, make sure your levels are good, and then you're all good. So basically now, you're just gonna take your oil. I'm going to utilize the old container. I'm going to bring it off, get it recycled. Make sure I don't mix it up with any clean oil that I have. Not that you're going to not notice that when you're pouring it in. Plus the caps are already broken. I'm going to clean up the funnel, put away the tools. There you go. Quick and easy. Really, it's the kind of thing that you can do having a beer. You just pop the drain plug, pop the top, let it drain out, come back, put it in, fill the fluids, you're done. This way, you get to ensure what is being put in your Jeep. If you take it to the dealership or a lube place, a lot of times, and I noticed this is the first time that I've done it, that was cranked on, because the first oil change I had was done by the dealership. So I'm not sure how hard they torqued it, if that was just because, you know, basically grit and grime got a little stuck on there, or if it's the fact that they were over tightening it a bit. Make sure again that you run, check your oil levels, check for leaks. If you're leaking, tighten some stuff down, make sure that you got a good seal, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, straightforward. You're gonna save yourself a little bit of money, especially if you're using premium fluids. And like I said, quick and easy to do. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, see ya.